He said, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. Whether there is a good news or a bad news, whether what I'm going through is palatable or not palatable. Some people think that it's only when you have something good that you can thank God for. God said, Apostle Paul in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 18 said, in everything give thanks, because this is the will of God concerning you. He's not saying that the problem you are going through is the will of God. But he's saying praising God and thanking God is the will of God for your life. And people have said, oh, he didn't say thank God for everything. He's saying everything, give thanks. Yes, right here he's not talking about for everything. But in Ephesians chapter 5 verse 20, he talks about thanking God for everything. Ephesians 5 verse 20, giving thanks always for how many things? All things. That thing may not be the will of God for your life, but you are thanking God because you don't know how far the devil actually wanted to go if not for God's intervention. You are thanking God because you never knew what the devil planned. I say it's coming upon our children as well. Shout the kind of amen your neighbors are not shouting. Put the devil to shame. So David said, I will bless the Lord at all times. And we have said there is one benefit for this, cultivating a lifestyle of thanksgiving and praise. One benefit that you derive from that is that it helps you develop the capacity to receive more from God. Those who are grateful, those who are ever grateful to God, they always develop the capacity to receive more from God and even more from people. If you are grateful to people, they will be favorably disposed to do more. And there are different ways of saying thank you to people. There are different ways to say thank you to God. There are different ways to say, I really appreciate you. That was where we started at the beginning of the month. We gave an example of so many people in the Bible that receive one help or the other because they were beneficiary of those help. They positioned themselves to thank and appreciate the people that helped them. And they didn't just come and say thank you. For instance, David came and said, I must be a blessing to anybody that remains in the house of Saul, particularly the house of Jonathan. Because it was Jonathan that rescued him. It was Jonathan's intervention that helped him to ascend the throne. And they said, well, there is still one boy, although he's a lame man now. He said, no matter who he is, I will identify with him. And he called Mephibosheth, not because of what Mephibosheth have done. David had not even met Mephibosheth before. But he told Mephibosheth that because of Jonathan, your father, you are going to be eating with me at the table with the king, dining and wining with the king on a daily basis. Not because of what he has done, but because of what Jonathan, his father, did. And not only that, he restored the landed property of the grandfather to Mephibosheth. There are so many things that you can do to say, I appreciate you. For instance, my book is out now. What do you call it? Understanding the mystery of faith. And you want to say, I appreciate my pastor. He's not just saying it by mouth. But you come out and say, well, I'm buying a copy for 1 million naira. It's not empty promise. There are people that will say, I buy for 1 million. I say, let's see what will happen first. But you know that you are not just saying it and you fulfill it. That is how to appreciate your man of God. There are several ways to appreciate people. There are several ways to appreciate God. We can sing, we can dance. We talk about that the last service. All right? So we're looking at how do I cultivate, how do I make praise and thanksgiving my lifestyle? Number one, we said you have to develop sanctified thoughts, scriptural thoughts, biblical thoughts. And I gave you more than 50 of those thoughts. We have been learning that from the beginning of this month. And today is the last Sunday of the month. Every Sunday, every Wednesday, we're coming together to learn at the feet of Christ so that we can become better. The Bible says in Proverbs 23 verse 7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Philippians 4:8 give us the scope that believers, the scope of our thinking for believers. The scope of our thinking. Whatever things are true, whatever things are just, whatever things are, and he said think on these things. So anything that is beyond that, you are not permitted to think like that. How are you thinking? Your thinking determines everything about your life. And that is why I dwell so much on that. Dwell so much on that, because what you do, what you won't do, they are determined by the way you think. They are determined by the way you think. If you have flight now, you are going to UK or US this evening, and you are supposed to be at the airport by 5, I know you won't be there by 8 because of the way you think. You know there will be penalty, or possibly you have an appointment, something you are going there to do, and so you don't want to be late. You don't want to miss your flight. So that is the thinking. But the same person can be late to church. That is the way he thinks. We can pay any amount of school fees for our children. That's the way we think. And when it comes to God, we can just give God any kind of offering. That's the way we think. So all that you and I will ever do will be based or be determined by the way we think. Very important. So we learned that for almost 3 weeks. Then secondly, we are talking about cultivating a lifestyle of praise and thanksgiving. So the second one now, what do I do to cultivate it? Number 2, learn the nitty-gritties of praise and thanksgiving. Learn how to do it. Learn the technicalities, if we are permitted to say it like that. How do I praise God? Because I love to let people know it's not just by saying thank you, thank you, thank you. That is part of it if it's coming from your heart. But we said first and foremost, praise is a matter of the heart. And it flows to the outside. You are not accusing God, not putting any allegation on him. Not trying to blame God for your situation, your predicament. I see you rise to the top. Because God is about to equip you in a way that you have never imagined. Because as you are praising God, your story will change. As you are praising God, your life will be transformed. Things will answer to you. How many people are shouting loudly? I'm only hearing a few people. All right. So let's go to number 3 now. We've talked about number 2 in the last service, on Wednesday, and on the last service, the second service. So let's go to number 3 now. How do I cultivate a lifestyle of praise and thanksgiving? Number 3, learn to put your problems in the proper perspective. Learn to put your problems in the proper perspective. Don't exaggerate your problem. Don't overemphasize your problem. Put your problem in a proper perspective. And let me just give you what I mean by proper perspective. Number 1, everybody have problem. You have problem, I have my own problem. My own problem may be different from yours. And as a matter of fact, you can give it another name and not call it problem because it will look big. You can call it challenges. You have challenges, I have challenges. Number 2, that's what I mean by proper perspective now. No one without problems. Number 2, there are good problems. I said something like that last week. There are good problems and there are bad problems. And it's always good to have good problems. If you are growing, you will always have good problems. Let me give you what I mean by big problem. But somebody had 2 cars. And he had a little garage to put the car in his house. He doesn't have problem parking his car. No problem. But on Saturday, somebody gave him a bus. All these, what do you call it now? I don't know. Is it Ayas? Brand new. And on Sunday, which was the next day, another person gave him a Jeep. And he didn't have where to park the 2 cars. He has problem of parking space. Good problem or bad problem? Talk to me now. Talk to your neighbor. Touch your neighbor. Good problem or bad problem? How many of you want that kind of problem? Now you are looking for parking space. That's a good problem. Is that not a problem? Talk to me now. Is that not a problem? Is it not a good problem? Just like you are alone as a single brother. If you like, you sleep on bed. You like, you sleep on the floor. You like, you eat. You like, you don't eat. And now God gave you a good problem. You got married. And somebody, and you are outside and somebody is calling you. When are you coming back? When are you coming? I say, this is a great problem. Is it a good problem or bad problem? Now somebody is asking of you, good problem or bad problem? Okay, now you have children, you have babies, and they came home and all of them with, by the time, every time they vacate, I know there is something you want to look at. The report sheet, that one gives you excitement. But there is another paper, those people will always add. And you look at it and that tells you how much they are going to pay. Most of the time you don't like to see that one. Because it looks like a problem. Good problem or bad problem? Good problem. As you are complaining, this school fees is right. I don't know what are they even teaching these people. Especially if they are small children. That you feel you can teach 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A, B, C, D, A for apple, B for ball. And they are asking for all these thousands. And somebody who is trusting God for the fruit of the womb said, I need this problem. I need this problem. I need this problem. Are you sure you understand? That's what I mean by good problem. Visitors came to your house and children are running up and down and throwing this and that and say, stop it, we have guests, keep quiet, go and sit down. And the guest is believing God for fruit of the womb. He said, let them make noise. I love it. I love it. I remember our last son followed us to the US, my wife and I. And at the airport, I don't know, it was as if he knew that we can't just beat him like we can do in Nigeria. Just jumping. And so my wife was complaining, why are you doing this? And one man said, if he's not jumping like that, will you be happy? He said, if he's extremely quiet, then you know that he's sick. That it's natural that he will be jumping and doing this and that. Good problem. Tell your neighbor, good problem. Shout it louder now. You don't have a job and now you can sleep till 11 a.m. if you are lazy. And now there is a job in your hand and you have to wake up by 5 a.m. What a problem, but good problem. It's a good problem. Hello, you won't have bad problem again. All the problem challenges you'll be having now will be good ones. Shout the kind of amen that your neighbors are not shouting. That's the kind of problem I pray for. For people to come to church and we have 10,000 people to attend to and they have to stand up. You know, we had a gathering like that some years ago and we had to force people to park the chairs and remain standing. Because the chair was like a hindrance. Because people were more than the space of where we used. So, there are good problems and there are bad problems. You are trying to put your problem in good perspective. Good problem, bad problem. All right, number 3, no problem is meant to be forever. No problem is meant to be forever. I'm going through it now, I'm going to overcome it. I'm going through it now, I'm going to overcome it. How many of you are saying I'm going to overcome it? Please touch 3 people around you. Touch them, tap them very well. Say, I'm going to overcome it. I say, tap somebody around you, tap him, say, I'm going to overcome it. Okay, prophesy to 3 people, touch them, say, you will overcome it. Oh yeah, touch somebody around, say, you will overcome it. Say it louder to somebody else. All right, number 4, some people's problem are actually bigger than my own problem. That when I hear of their own problem, I will just have to keep quiet. I remember one day I was with Father in the Lord Bishop in his office, and he was telling me the amount they need to pay a salary alone every month. Then I look at it that we are enjoying here. Because I don't have that kind of responsibility. That you have to pay some thousands of people every month. And then well over 3,000 or 5,000, I've forgotten the number he gave, but some thousands of people, about 5,000 people. And so I know that that is a good problem on his hand, and God is helping him to solve it. Hello, somebody? So some people's problems are bigger. You are just 25 years old, you are crying that you are not married. What kind of crying is that? 25 years. And somebody will say, you keep quiet. You say, I'm 50. That's times 2. 25 times. Raise to power 2. Is somebody getting what I'm saying at all? So 2 ladies came to my office some years ago, and they wanted me to pray for them so that they can get married. I thought they wanted prayer for their children. All of them were above 50. And they were still believing God to get married. And it's not too late, because it can never be too late with God. Whatever may be your heart desires, you are receiving in this service. Let somebody lift his hand and shout the kind of amen that the neighbor cannot shout. God is a miracle working God. He's still answering prayers. Of course, you can hear a lot of testimonies. And we give God praise. So, some people are going through some problems that when you hear, I've told you before, I used to talk about my problem, what I went through in secondary school. From secondary school, I've been going to farm to take care of myself. Go to Kwara Poli. Kwara Poli, I was as fat as my finger. Hello, somebody? That people will meet me on the way and say, are you sick? I say, why do you say so? What, do I look sick? Yeah. Oh, you look sick. Oh. If we met somebody, we are trying to say, what is the sickness about? He said, you look sick. Oh. We are trying to reject it. He said, no, I'm okay. I say, you look sick. Don't give me sickness. Praise the name of Jesus. Then another thing you think about, what number are you now? Number 5. My problem is a proof that I'm alive. You know the only man that doesn't have problem? The one in the mortuary. He has become the problem of everybody. He doesn't have any problem by himself. Whether you visit him there, you don't. You bury him, you don't. Whatever it is, he doesn't have problem anymore. No problem whatsoever. Let me show you a scripture that will help you put your problem in proper perspective. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 13. That's why I don't bother whether somebody will be talking about me because I have this problem. I'm going through this challenge. Let them talk about me. Is there anybody that doesn't have something they can talk about? 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Are you there now? 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Now, this is a discourse that started from somewhere. Let me start from verse 9 and read very fast. Neither let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents. I read to you verse 10 last service. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer. Now all these things happen unto them for examples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take it lest he fall. I'm going to verse 13. Let's read verse 13 together. Are you following? Talk to me. Are you following? Let's read that together. Verse 13. 1, 2, go. They have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. What are they talking about? Let me just break it down. There is no temptation. That word temptation there talks about trial, talk about trouble, talk about challenges that has come to you that is not common to man. It's common. It's, I have an uncommon problem. You are telling lie. You are exaggerating. This is my problem. Nobody is going through it. That is another lie. Because if others open their mouth and tell you what they are going through, you will know that you are really enjoying. No temptation taking you, but as such is common to man. But the Bible says in everything we should remember that God is faithful. How many of you still believe that God is faithful? You are going through challenges, you are going through trials, you are going through troubles, things are difficult, things are tight, your things are rough, you can't just explain it. But the Bible says God is faithful. And God will demonstrate that faithfulness in somebody's life. If you are one of such, shout the kind of amen that you have not shouted before. If you are one of such, shout the kind of amen that you have not shouted before. How many of you believe that God is faithful? Shout your amen louder. Let somebody shout the kind of amen you need to shout. Hallelujah. Amen and amen. He said, but God is faithful, who will not suffer. That word suffer you is allow you. You can put allow there. Who will not allow you to be tempted above that you are able. In other words, God knows your capacity. God knows your capacity. God knows your capacity. God knows your capacity. He knows if God ever allow anything to come near you, it's because you can handle it. There is no teacher that is that wicked to set exams. A-level exam for O-level students? No, everybody have their level. You have your own level. And God knows your level. So he said, I know your level. Whatever exam I said before, I told you before, I was writing an economics exam. And my perspective about economics is that if you explain to market women in vernacular, you will pass economics. Hello, somebody? That mama, that mama will score A1. It's just English problem that people have. That was my perspective. But they gave me in our WAEC exams. They gave me the WAEC exams, and I look at, because about a week to exam, I don't even read textbook or notebook. I read the questions that I've prepared for myself and answered. Because I know I will answer 5 questions, so I will have said 25 questions and read it very well. So I saw the question. Number 1 was too difficult. Number 2, I couldn't try it. Number 3, I said, economics? What's happening to me? So one of our teachers, who was one of the invigilators, was looking at it that I wasn't right. He said, Ojigiri, you know this. That's what he told you. You know it. And what he said just touched me in the me. I know it. Okay. So I opened again. I said, these people are stupid. This cheap question. And I answered them perfectly. And to the glory of God, I came out with an A. And you see, the people that set it, they knew that I could undo it. But when I first saw it, I was scared because I thought I couldn't undo it. There is nothing you are going through that you cannot handle. Tell your neighbor you can handle it. Oh, say it to another person very loud and clear. Shout it on top of your voice. Say you can undo it. Now he said, but God is faithful, will not suffer you or allow you to be tempted above that you are able. But the last one he said, but will with the temptation, with that challenge of your life, God will make a way of escape for you. You are coming out of that situation. You are coming out of that circumstance. How many of you are shouting the kind of amen your neighbors are not shouting? 2 Corinthians chapter 4, just changing your perspective. 2 Corinthians 4, 17 and 18. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17 and 18. For our light affliction. Do you see the perspective of Paul? Paul was going through all manner of pain, all manner of hardship, all manner of problem, imprisonments, persecutions, hunger, thirst, deniers, betrayers. And Apostle Paul wants to summarize everything and he called it light. Light. Give us 17 clearly before we go to 18. 2 Corinthians 4:17. For our light affliction. What you are going through is light. It's not heavy. Don't call it heavy. Light. Tell your neighbor, my problem is light. You know, some people they just want you to believe that if you know what I'm going through, kill me. What are you going through? I have not eaten for the past 12 hours. What about those who have not eaten for the past 3 days? Not that they don't want to eat, but they don't have food. I was preaching one day when we were in Kwara State Polytechnic, and I was talking about, I was already in the university that time, and I was preaching. I was Bible study secretary of the fellowship, and I was preaching on campus, talking about 90s now, in the 90s. And I was narrating my experience in the 80s. I think that was, I finished university in 1992. So I was narrating the situation of what I went through 1986, 87. That sometimes for 3 days, no food in the tummy. 2 days, no food. And we will still go and read. Because in my place, they said if you don't have teeth, you will suffer 2 losses. Let me not explain the details. You understand what I'm talking about? Because the one you are trying to eat will not go, and you want to talk. The thing will still go out of your mouth. Many of you may not understand what I'm saying now. So instead of me to suffer twice, whether there is food in my tummy or no food in my tummy, I will go to the class and read. So that why will you suffer hunger and still suffer failure? Then after failure, they will say you should repeat the class. Then the hunger will increase. So it's better we pass and go. And every time I talk about that, You know, I've told you before, Pastor Manuel will say he felt that he suffered when he was in Kwara Poly, but when he met me, he changed his mind. There are some people that you think you are suffering now because you have not listened to others. You have not listened to others. And the way I tell myself is, if my salary is 10,000, are there not some people whose salary is 5,000? Are there not some that they are getting 2,500? At the couples forum, we are talking about some families where the husband, irresponsible, give them 2,000 naira for a whole month. 2,000 naira. I thought I did all the suffering I went through in my life. I thought it was because my father had died. But I received consolation when I worked with a chartered accountant after my secondary school. He wasn't taking care of his children. One of his children obtained form and he hid the form. Who asked you to obtain form? He said, Daddy, I've been telling you to get form for me. You didn't get the form for me. That's why I got it. He said, you are not going to anywhere. Hide the form. I said, Father, I thank you because there is no father to hide any form. Maybe I wouldn't have been able to go to school if not somebody will hide the form. For our light affliction, whatever you are going through, is a light affliction. He said, Pastor, it's because you don't know. You are just exaggerating. Our light affliction, which is but for a moment. Your problem is not permanent. Is somebody getting what I'm saying this morning as we speak in vernacular or talk French? How many of you believe that your problem is not forever? Lift your hand. Say, my problem is not forever. Wave your hand. Wave your hand. Say, my problem is not forever. I'm coming out of that problem. I'm coming out of shame. Okay, are there people here? They are not coming out. Lift your hand and say, I'm coming out of shame. I'm coming out of stagnation. I'm coming out of frustration. How many of you are saying it with loud voice? Say it louder. You know, some people, they don't like to talk like that. Oh. They like to say, hey, if you know what I'm going through. When I say that one, people will help me. How many people have helped you since the day you have been talking negative? Our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us. Your problem is working for you. Tell your neighbor for me like that. Two of them say, my problem is working for me. My problem is working for me. That problem is your employee that is serving you. Our problem worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. Verse 18. Now let's move to that quickly. Verse 18. Why we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Whatever you see now, they are not permanent. They are temporal. That word temporal means they are subject to change. You can change it. Are you facing trials? You can change it. Are you facing poverty? You can change it. Things are not working. You can make it work. How many of you are saying amen to that? All right, let me just give you one more and we go to praise God now. Number what now? Number 4. No, we are finished with that one. That one is sub numbers. I'm talking about cultivating a lifestyle of praise. What is number 1? Develop sanctified thoughts. Number 2, learn the nitty-gritties of praise and thanksgiving. Number 3, learn to put your problems in the proper perspective. And number 4 now, stop self-pity. And don't ever allow anyone to pity you. Stop it. Tell your neighbor, stop it. Oh my God. Beat 3 people. Tap them very well. Hit them very well. Say, stop it. Self-pity. Self-pity. Whether in terms of songs. Some people, that's the kind of song they sing all the time. Songs of pity. Self-pity. Bọ́jọ́ òní bá tilẹ̀ korò, ọjọ́ ọ̀la mi á dára. Bí mo tilẹ̀ mọ̀ tí alágbádá lọ. Ṣé túláàsì ni kò mu tea ni? Is it compulsory that you should take tea? This one is tea. Hello, somebody? You know, so just pitying yourself. There are some people, they are not happy except you pity them. Joseph, yeah, sorry. He said, nobody even come in this church to say, yeah. What do you need that for? What do you need that for? I remember when we started some years ago and things were very tough and rough, very wonderful. And I would send Pastor Bayo, he was believing God for a job that time. It was as if he will never get a job forever, the way they have turned him down. But I say it's just for a moment. It's for a moment. And by the time God has brought the miracle, you will forget those pains and those years of trouble. Somebody is about to forget his pain and his trouble. God is moving you to a new height, a new level. How many of you are shouting very loud amen to that? So then, you know, sometimes we send him on errand and he will have to trek and come back. And by the time he comes, I know the distance. Sending you from here, for instance, to Bariga. And you trek to and fro. Say, you really tried, oh, sorry. Say, you don't need to say all that. I'm okay. Don't let anybody pity you. Don't pity yourself. Stop self-pity and don't allow anyone to pity you. Avoid self-pity. Stop looking pitiable. Stop looking in such a way that somebody will call you and say, I hope you are not going through anything. This and that. There's nobody not going through anything. Even if everything is working for you, you are thinking of a higher height. You are thinking of a greater dream. You are thinking of a greater achievement, a greater tomorrow. That's how to succeed in life. So because people's pity can't change your story. How many a year have changed your story? A year. There was one boy I escorted when we were in UI. You still remember, Pastor Bayo? We escorted him in our room, and that boy, in the night, I sat him there. I said, Kilo gato nye, kilo. What is kilo ga? I said, we just, He said, Kilo gato nye. Let's bring that thing, that mountain, let's bring it down. Hello, somebody? I told you, my friend called me at night. He said, Solomon, come, I want to see you. And he started crying. What's the problem? He said, I'm going back to the village. What happened? Why are you crying? Somebody died? He said, no, I'm going back to the village. We are suffering too much. I said, okay. When are you coming back? He said, come back to this suffering? He said, I'm not coming back. So I look at it and what will I tell him? Oh, I said, okay. I said, you are free to go. But I think we're in 4 years' time, you come to Lagos, VI, Victoria Island, to come and celebrate with me my call to bar and this and that. And you will be regretting that if you had waited, we will become lawyers together. Why are you talking like that? Okay, I'm not going again. That's why I'm talking like that. You know, was it Akintola that they said it when they were trying to persuade people to let their children go to school? And people don't want their children to go to school. He said, Akintola called them and said, don't let your children go to school. Who will be the messenger for our own children? Let your children go and learn other things. Then they will become messenger to our own. So our own should be messenger. Okay, they too are going to school. Yeah, I get you now. Hello, somebody? Number 4, stop comparing yourself with other people. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 12. Stop comparing yourself with others. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 12. Let's look at that. 2 Corinthians 10:12. For we dare not make ourselves of the number or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves are not wise. God says if you are comparing yourself with people, you are not wise. You will graduate together. And so what? That you are classmate doesn't mean that you are destiny mate. That somebody is, I told you life is turn by turn. If somebody's turn today, it will be your turn another time. When it is your turn, the whole world will be singing your praise. The whole world will know you everything. And before you know it will become your turn. Nobody can say that it will never be your turn. Don't compare yourself with anybody. You know why I said that? Let me just give you a few points before we pray. Our cases and circumstances differs. What you are going through is different from what I'm going through. Number 2. Now, the Yoruba people do say something. Please, can you give me that talking drum? Can somebody give me that talking drum? Pastor Bayo, Pastor Kumolu, give me that talking drum. The Yoruba people have a say that this word, no, you don't need the, you want to play it? Some people have described the situation of this world like this talking drum. You know, this one face you now. Another one face me. Hello, somebody? The part that faces you is turning against me. Ìlú gángan lọ̀rọ̀ ayé. Ohun tó kọjú sẹ́nìkan, ẹ̀yìn ló kọ sẹ́lòmí. what is an advantage for you is a disadvantage for another person. Hello, somebody? So that's why you don't compare yourself with anybody. You don't get mad because, oh, somebody got testimony, somebody have breakthrough, somebody is lifted, somebody got a job, somebody got a car, and this is and that. No. Why some people are crying for not having children, some people have children, they are crying for what to use to take care of those children. I lived in a house at Aguda. I had 2 neighbors. I have more than 2 neighbors, but at least these 2 neighbors are my example. One of them, they are always having babies almost every year. Almost every year. And all the babies are female. And the reason, I think at that time we were there, they had about number 7 or so. And the reason is because they just want to have a male child. And the next neighbor, they were always having female. Every time, boy. And they too already have up to 6 by the time we were there. Because they are looking for female. I said, why can't they just talk to themselves? You collect from this. I know it's difficult for them to do that. But just jokingly, that why must you continue to have children? Because you are looking for female child, you are looking for male. I just said that this one are looking for male, the other one are looking for female. In fact, there could be some looking for just one. I've had some women pray, Lord, let me even just be pregnant and the pregnancy go down. At least it will be on record that I was pregnant. So that's how this world is. What you think you don't have, another person have it in abundance. And what you now have, another person does not even have. And sometimes there is no way you can exchange. Just like the story I just told you now. Sometimes you cannot explain. I told you a story last week about a madman in Ibadan. That they said this guy many years ago. Well, that man said at that time, if you give somebody 20 naira, I can buy a plate of rice and a bottle of Coke. I don't think that one is possible now. So that man, they normally call him 5 naira or Londoner. He was living in London and he became mad. His brain turned upside down. He became insane and he came back to Nigeria. And anybody passing, he just said, give me 5 naira. Give me 5 naira. And people are giving him 5 naira. And one day he said, that man said, he asked him for money. He said, I don't have money here. And the way the madman frowned his face, the guy felt that this boy need this money seriously. This madman need money seriously. So he now gave him 20 naira instead of 5 naira. You know, sometimes when beggars ask you for money, you say, I don't have change. Did he tell you that he can't collect the one you have? He's not looking for change. Anything you give, he said, I don't have 5 naira. But they gave him 20 naira, he collected. So the man now asked him, the madman now asked the young man, say, am I mad? If you are the one that a madman asks you, what will you answer? Talk to me now. A madman asks you, am I mad? What will you say? He said, you are not mad. He said, hey. He said, people say I'm mad. He said, is it true that I'm mad? He said, no, you are not mad though. He said, okay. He said, because I don't see things the way others sees it, does it mean I'm mad? Listen, in this world, people may never see things the way you see it. They may never. Then the boy now wrote, the madman now wrote W on the floor. And said, what did I write? And the boy said W. He said, depending on where you are looking at it from. He said, if you stay over there, it will be M. If you stay by this side, it will be 3. If you stay on the other side, it will be E. I said, that man, is he mad like that? People look at things. Now, your problem is as you see it. Your problem is as you see it. So don't let anything bother you. Don't let anything bother you. I have so many of these, but of course we can't finish it. Number 5, there is grace for everything you are going through. There is nothing you are going through that God doesn't have grace for. Grace to come out of it. Grace to manage it. Grace to turn it to your blessing. Is somebody say amen to that? People are talking about economic recession in Nigeria. That's the season that have made some to be extremely rich. I've listened to so many people. that God turned their lives around during the economic recession. It depends on what you believe. In 2 Corinthians chapter 12, reading verse 9, God told Apostle Paul, you are going through this problem, but my grace is sufficient.